Okay, everybody, well, here's a video shot of the model now, all finished up. As you could tell in the slideshow there, a lot of work went into this. It's a fairly high parts count kit, and you've got to have quite a bit of room to work on this model. The wingspan is about 36 inches, and the fuselage length is around 25 or 26 inches, so it takes up a lot of space when you're working on it. I painted this with the Duplicolor chrome finish out of the spray can, and I'm real happy with how that turned out. You can see on the when we move around on it here, it gives a nice simulation of that aluminum polished look that we saw a lot on the B-29s, and especially on the Enola Gay. Uh, I was doing some research online on this, and I went to the Smithsonian website and found these really nice high definition color pictures of it on display there. And I was kind of surprised when I saw that on the top of the wings here it had this gray painted on it. I had only seen some black and white photos of the original plane right after it returned from the mission and landed at Tinian Island. Uh, and it was kind of hard to tell, but they've restored the plane exactly how it looked when they received it, and the plane wasn't altered at all from its last flight. So I was able to match that color up and spray that on there, and I think it adds a nice little contrast there onto the wings and a little bit up onto the fuselage there. Got a little bit of that same color around the engine cowlings for some nice little accents. The plane's kind of plain looking otherwise. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of markings on it. It has just the standard Air Force insignia there, and just the name Enola Gay and the number 82 and the bombardment group letter there of R at the tail, but pretty much everything else that's on it as far as markings are just standard B-29 markings, for emergency exit and, warnings about propellers and stuff like that that I put on it. But as you can see, kind of moving around this thing here, it is really big. And I'll just talk about the paint again a little bit. The Duplicolor chrome, it takes a long time for it to dry, especially if it's humid. And unfortunately here, over the last week, we've had a lot of rain and overcast, and so this has been drying really slow. I had to be really careful when I was handling it. I actually, managed to not put any smudges in it, but I did that by always making sure I picked it up, along an edge or something like that. I didn't grab a hold of any of the flat surfaces. I was really careful with that because the paint's kind of deceptive. It'll feel like it's dry, but underneath it's still soft, and you can put a thumbprint or something like that. I found that out on spraying this and some other stuff I was working on. But if I could have put it out in the sunlight like I was hoping to, probably in a day or so it would have been dry. But the sunlight and the UV would have helped it dry quite a bit faster. But um, we didn't have that opportunity. But once I get it inside and hung up like you saw, I showed a picture of how I'll display it there during the slideshow in the model display room up on the wall, and that's air conditioned in there, and it shouldn't take long at all, and it'll dry, and it won't be disturbed anymore either. It'll be up there hanging, and I decided to hang it on the wall instead of hanging it from the ceiling because it'll be a lot easier to get down if I ever want to look at it or show it to somebody or whatever, instead of having to unhook it from the ceiling and bring it down. But I have the canopy on this where it can be taken off, and you can see all the detail in the cockpit. But I'm not going to do that right now. It's kind of finicky, and again, the paint's still kind of soft on it, so I don't really want to mess with it. And you guys could see the detail that it has in the interior during the slideshow there, and it's a lot. Like I said, it's a high parts count kit, so there's a lot of fun to be had doing all the detail work on the interior and all that. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed putting this together, and I remember I have really fond memories of it when I built it back in 1977 when it originally came out. I think I was about 14 when I built it the first time, and so it was a lot of fun. Now this particular kit is the specifically the Enola Gay, which you can get now from Revell Monogram. The original kit was, I believe it did come with the Enola Gay decals and the boxcar decals, which was the second plane that dropped the second bomb uh, the, during the war. But the parts that came with those kits weren't accurate. If you notice one thing here, all the guns have been removed, like I talked about in the out of the box review there on the Enola Gay itself and the boxcar. These were silver plate B-29s, and they took all the guns out to save weight, about 8,000 pounds worth, which is quite a bit. The only guns they had on board were the tail gunner there, and the original kits didn't give you that opportunity. This new kit now has these plates that replace them that go on the top of the model. Now, on the real airplane, they're a little bit more flush looking than these are, but that would have been really difficult to do given the parts they give you here, because they're meant to be put on the model after the fuselage is put together, and they have to go on the top. If you got really creative, you could probably make some with a bevel on the edge of them that you could glue in one half of the fuselage, from the inside out, and have it come flush with the outer edge of the fuselage, and then glue it and seal it all up. What I did to make them look a little bit better is I sanded them down so they weren't quite as high, and then as you could see in the slideshow there, I took and put a little bit of putty around the edges of all of them to make them sort of blend into the fuselage a little bit better and not have a sharp edge on them. So that helped to make make them look a little bit better, and that's the best I could do with it. But again, this model has a lot of detail. If we get down low here, you can look and you can see that we have the real nice exhaust ports. I didn't do any weathering on this or anything. The plane, as it appeared and returned from the mission, it was basically a brand new airplane. I did do a little bit of rust kind of look on those exhaust ports that you can see there, because it doesn't take long at all before those start looking like that. But down on the bottom, you can see that you have all the detail there of the mechanisms that go inside the landing gear doors and in the bomb bay doors here up in the front, and the forward landing gear doors, and then the bomb bay doors down here. You can see all the mechanism. I'll slide a mirror underneath of this in a second. You can see the detail in the bomb bay. We have the little boy bomb in there that was the first bomb to be dropped, the first atomic bomb ever. But you can see the airplane has all these small little details on it too, with the pitot tubes and the radio masts and all kinds of cool stuff. And so it's really, really cool. And again, tons of parts that go into the interior. Unfortunately, you can't see it all when you're all done, but it's in there, and you get to have a whole lot of fun, putting it together and painting it and detailing it and everything. But we'll kind of have a look at the back half here. You can see we got the tail gunner guy in there, and not a lot going on the sides. Like I said, it was pretty basic. But I think it looks really nice anyway. I think the B-29, the B-17, and the B-25 were the best looking American bombers of the war, and they were always my favorites. And we've got this 1/48 scale Mitchell that we're going to be doing up as one of the Doolittle Raiders. I've got to get the correct decals for it. These are the wrong decals. And the original Mitchell that was used in the Doolittle Raid, I think, was a C model and not a J. But you can take you can omit some of the parts on the J here and make it look a lot like a C, so we'll probably do that. And then I've ordered in the Memphis Belle kit by Revell in 1/48 scale, so they'll all be the same scale, and I'll have them all hanging up on the ceiling, and that'll be pretty cool when we get done. You guys will get to see those getting built a little bit later. But again, this has been a really fun kit. I'll slide the mirror underneath of the bomb bay there, and we'll hit it with the flashlight here, and hopefully you guys can see the little boy bomb up in the bay there. And I did do a little bit of weathering and chipping and stuff on the inside and the green paint on the interior of the bomb bay and all that, because I thought that might look kind of accurate. But like I said, the outside of the plane here is supposed to look pretty clean. One thing I'm going to point out about the model is that it's extremely tail heavy, and you can see that I've got a clear piece of sprue underneath of there kind of propping it up so it'll sit on the nose wheel. That's not going to be a problem when I hang it, because I'll hook it in that area there and it'll stay level. But to have it sitting on a flat surface like that, you got to prop it up, and they talk about that in the instructions. Now, there are some aftermarket parts available for this kit, including interior photo etch parts, so you can add a lot more detail and really bring that to a high level, extreme level of detail. But they also offer some metal landing gear for this thing, which would make the undercarriage a lot stronger. Right now, they're maxed out to about their limit with the plastic ones, because the model is really heavy. So what you could do is you could use the metal landing gear, and you could, up in this area right here underneath of this hatch, before I closed all that up, there's enough room to put some lead weights or something in there if you wanted to, underneath, and it'll fit underneath of the flight deck, or build it into the forward half of the model before you close everything up, and you could counterweight it and have it down on the front. It's going to take quite a bit of weight. I'd say at least 5, 6, 7 ounces at least, or maybe more. So the landing gear that are on this, included with this kit, wouldn't take that weight. The nose gear would just cave right in. So with the metal landing gear that they're available, you could do that, and that's what the purpose of those is. So, but it's not a big deal. Like I said, you put that little rod, real close to the bomb bay door there, and you can't even really see it. So it's not a big deal to me. And like I said, it's not going to be sitting on the ground. Maybe someday later, when I get more room, I can display it that way. Now the kit comes with some really cool ground figures, and it comes with a bomb cart, so you could do a little diorama like they're loading the bomb into the plane, and that would be really neat. So I'll save all that stuff, and who knows, maybe later we might do something like that. But like I said, this is a really, really cool model. If you're a B-29 fan, do yourself a favor and build one of these kits if you've got the room for it, and you'll be glad you did. It's just a beautiful kit, and it's still a great kit after all these years. There's really nothing better. I don't think they've come out with anything better. There's some smaller scale kits, but if you want just a lot of detail and really accurate and everything, this is it. It's fantastic. So I know the show's been a lot about this kit tonight, but a lot of work went into it. We thought we'd take you through the whole thing and show you, the parts that come with the kit, the model going together, so you can get kind of an idea about the amount of work it'll take, and then maybe give you some ideas about how you want to do yours or something like that. But I'm really, really happy with it, and I highly recommend it. And again, these are readily available. You can find this newer version, which is the ENOLA Gay kit, or you can find several versions that they have, as well as a lot of the vintage kits that were made of this are still easily available on eBay and other places. So that's going to be a wrap, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to come back here for our next segment of the show. We'll see you with that in just a couple seconds, everybody. Hang tight. Be right back.